Photo of the panel. Give me some love.
Welcome to our first official kind of gathering event.
Yay!
Great to see everybody here. Great turnout. I think we're only a few short of everybody, and we're a total of 50. So yeah.
Just putting that up.
Wow. All right. So without further ado, welcome our MC for the panel discussion, Lolly Laverco.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up to this evening's event and coming down to the beach and honoring these 5 here. So here tonight, we have our 5 siblings. Introduced eldest to youngest. Judy hates when her cats disappear for even 5 minutes. Loves getting up early in the morning with nothing to do. Trilby hates arguments of any kind. Loves cleaning closets and throwing things away. Marjorie hates live animals in the house. Loves
Dirty!
loves adventures of any kind. Lad hates word games like charades. Loves keeping his options open. Chris hates having specific things to do on any given day. Loves fishing, and more fishing. So,
Because having something specific to do would interfere with my fishing.
So we will open up with a question that honors the lineage of this family, starting with your parents, Harry and Marion, and their marriage. Would you please share a fond memory you have of your mom and dad together?
First of all, I want to say this is a very beautiful audience out here. Thank you for coming and appreciating what we have to say, which these people in the media, they won't say how great it is for you guys to be here and how many there are. This is the biggest reunion
The best.
ever.
The best.
Well, I just remember riding in the car with Mom and Dad driving recklessly and Mother putting on the brakes in the passenger side of the car. And they got along just fine with that arrangement.
I got one.
Of course.
I got one. Okay, this is one of my favorites. When we would go huckleberry picking, and she was the only one that was really afraid of snakes, and she was the only one that ever saw a snake when we were blueberry picking. And I can just hear her voice, where we'd all be picking away and putting them in our little buckets, and then I would hear, Harry! And I knew right away that she had seen a snake. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And of course, Dad collected snakes. At one time there's 26 species of snakes in Michigan, and he had 20 of them at one time. And I remember in the house in Huntington Woods, he had them reproduce and lay eggs and hatch and everything. It's pretty interesting. And then one time up north here, somehow we caught a Massasauga. It's Michigan's only rattlesnake, and we kept it in a wooden box for a few days. Then we let it go. This is an interesting thing. When we were very young, he made friends with another snake enthusiast. His name was Paul Allen, and it was on the Dixie Highway out to Mount Holly. And this guy was like a beatnik before it was popular. He had long hair and a goatee, and he was quite a character. And we would go out there. His place was called Snakes Alive. And he was a herpetologist, right? Isn't that what you call it?
Yeah.
And this guy was so into it that he let a Massasauga bite him to show that it wasn't fatal. And his arm blew up, and
Sadly, he died.
sadly he died by throwing a chicken into a cobra's cage, and the cobra just bypassed the chicken and hit his hand.
Oh, really?
And he died from a snake bite,
That was real.
just the way he wanted to go.
But that's a different family.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So with a big family comes big personalities. So each of you are going to grab a name from Clara,
Do we have to dance with this person? Or what?
and our question is, what big moment or a big accomplishment of your sibling were you extra proud of them for in life?
Okay, I can do this.
Okay.
I got Chris. I've always been proud of him because he's a big adventurer and he tries all kinds of stuff and he does all sorts of interesting stuff. He's always got something new going every time I talk to him, and he's a sibling that I've learned a lot from because of that. Okay, that's it. All I'm saying.
I have Judy, and she wrote a pretty famous book that was nothing but fun to experience vicariously, and I'm very proud of her. Love you.
Easy.
We got the big meatball one.
Softball question.
Well, that's interesting because I have Marjorie, and before I heard yours, I was going to say that my one sister wrote this book, but my other sister has written a million things, and they're very funny. And my mom, when she was alive, used to send them all to me. I have a whole stack of them for a newspaper, I believe, and I always thought that was really wonderful, and she's a great writer.
I have Trilby. To come up with just one. So very difficult. But it would have to be that at some point in her life, she chose to leave society in its ugly forms on the West Coast and go to Montana, build a cabin, and live off the land, so to speak, in a very remote part of northern Montana, and gave birth to this little girl right here in that cabin, and that was totally cool to me.
Okay, I have, can you hear me? Hey, I am running for president, by the way. But that's okay, that's another thing. But I have Ladd, and what I want to say about Ladd is that he is a really good person. He really thinks of other people, cares about other people, tries to help other people, and I think that's the most important thing.
What has been one of your favorite guest reunion moments to date?
Without a doubt, the River Queen.
I wasn't there, but I'm not sure that.
Where's Julie?
Oh my goodness.
Jimmy and I succeeded in killing the family reunion. Well, we have one.
It wasn't your fault, Julie.
I don't remember which reunion it was, but probably.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
so be okay.
Go ahead.
We're so deferring. You said be kind. Was when we had the reunion at the cabin, and Grandpa Harry would tell the story of Sam.
The cremation of Sam McGee.
The cremation of Sam McGee. That was my favorite memory of him doing it.
I have two specific memories. Both include Ladd. and one has Chris in it. So one of them was a funny moment when we were in Ohio. I had a ton of fun at the Ohio reunion, and one of the things I remember was Kristen Ladd did a stand-up shtick with yellow, what do you call those outfits? Like Gloucester fishermen.
Anyway, down at the High Flash, we ran across a gentleman who overheard our conversation, and it turns out he actually is a member of the guest family. He shares some of our distant relatives, and he did want to be included in tonight's festivities. So I think I've been informed that he is here, and here he comes now. A man known to me as Angus Black Sheep Guest.